guys, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, I'm Kat and I like to talk about true crime, conspiracies and all sorts of related things. Today, let's talk about the French policeman who was identified as a serial killer after a 35-year hunt for him. But before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. All the information I'm giving you in today's video is already found in the public domain. Also, I will be giving you my opinions and views on this case. I also don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone I talk about in today's video. The video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Thank you so much. So let's get started. A 35-year hunt for a serial killer behind some of France's oldest unsolved cases has come to an end after an ex-police officer left a suicide note confessing to be the pockmarked killer. François Verove, 59 years old, took his own life at his rented home in the south of France after receiving a summons for questioning, leaving a written statement and DNA evidence confirming his identity. His body was found in the southern town of Grosduroy near Montpellier on 29th of September. He faced accusations of the rape of minors, murder, attempted murder, armed robbery and kidnapping of minors. DNA tests, which were immediately ordered by the investigating magistrate, established a match between the genetic profile found at several crime scenes and that of the dead man. According to local media, Verove mentioned past impulses in a letter he left behind, which he had since brought under control, and said he committed no crimes after 1997. The murder confession contained no specifics. France has long been appalled by the killer, nicknamed Le Grêle, which translates to the pockmarked killer, accused of 4 murders and 6 rapes since 1986. The alleged crimes include the most notorious one, the murder of a child, 11-year-old Cécile Bloch, from Fontainebleau, France. She was reported missing by her mother when she failed to return home for lunch on May 5, 1986. After a search, her partially naked body was found under an old carpet in a basement, and evidence suggested she had been raped. She was found dead in the same basement of the building where she lived in the 19th arrondissement of Paris. Shortly after noon on 5th of May 1986, Cécile's mother, Suzanne, called the family's home telephone to make sure that Cécile made it home for lunch. When Cécile did not answer, Suzanne called her daughter's school and was informed that she didn't show up for class that day. Suzanne and her husband Jean-Pierre alerted the guard at their apartment building and began searching for their daughter. Cécile's body was found half naked. Investigators found that Cécile was strangled and stabbed in the chest. The fact that her body was partially naked and the presence of semen indicated that she had been raped. Police believed the killer grabbed her as she came out of the building's lift on her way to school and dragged her into the basement. During the police investigation, residents of the building recalled seeing a man in the elevator with pockmarked skin. Luc Richard, Cécile's older brother, was quoted in the Sud-Ouest newspaper as saying, "He seemed very sure of himself. He spoke to me in a very bold, very polite way too. He said something to me like, 'Have a very, very good day.'" Cécile's parents both died without knowing who was responsible for their daughter's death. That year, police published a police sketch based on witness statements that showed a man of around 25 years old, 6 feet tall, with light brown hair and with visible traces of acne on his face, hence the nickname. Genetic testing conducted a decade after Cécile's murder revealed her killer went on to commit a series of rapes. He is also believed to have strangled a couple to death in the Central Marais district of the capital in 1987. In 3 separate attacks on a 26-year-old German woman, a 14-year-old girl and an 11-year-old girl, he identified himself as a policeman. Investigators at the time believed this was just a ploy he used to gain control of his victims. However, it was also this detail that eventually led them to Verov, whose crimes have taken place between 1986 and at least 1994. Officers eventually uncovered evidence Le Greuel was a member of the security forces who had been driving a white car. In one case of abduction and rape, he showed his police card to make a lone girl get into his unmarked car. Other suspected murder victims were Gilles Politi, 38 years old, and the 20-year-old German woman Irmgard Miller, who was Politi's au pair. They were both tortured. Another victim was Karin Leroy, who was only 19 years old. His last known crime allegedly happened near a gendarmerie training center. Over the years, investigators became increasingly convinced the suspect was a gendarme at the time of the crimes and established a DNA profile of him. The fact that he placed one victim in a special garret that tightens if you struggle suggested he had military training. In recent months, an investigating magistrate began questioning around 750 gendarmes who were deployed in the Paris region at the time. One of them was Verov, who was sent a summons on September 24th for questioning on September 29th, but he was reported missing by his wife on September 27th and found dead 2 days later in Groix du Roi, a seaside resort on the Mediterranean coast. He was a former gendarme who later became a police officer and then retired. Why did he kill himself, I wonder? Was it out of guilt? He couldn't live with what he did and he just wanted to end it all? I think on one hand, he did it because he was feeling guilty about what he'd done and he couldn't carry on living like that. So he really saw suicide as his only way out. I mean, imagine his wife knowing what he did and his family finding out what he did whilst he was a police officer. It can push you to suicide. I also think that the reason he left the suicide note and DNA confessing to all these crimes was to bring closure to the families and also to help the police close the cases which went cold before this. And we have yet again another police officer who is abusing his badge to lure women and girls away, rape them, torture them and kill them. Please do let me know, guys, if you've heard of this case in the comment section down below. And also, being at the end of the video, I would like to focus my videos around cases which are not really covered in the media. So if you do have anything in particular that you'd want me to cover, please give me a name in the comments below. I'll try to look into it and make a video around it. Also, you can contact me by sending me an email. The email address is in the about section of the YouTube channel. Also, you can send me a message on my Facebook page. I'm quite active, especially on Facebook and YouTube. And yes, please don't forget to make sure you give this video a thumbs up or thumbs down. Either way, it's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me a lot in YouTube pushing my content around the platform. Thank you again, guys, so much. Please take care and stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!